the war in Ukraine has entered a dangerous new phase. For the first time, Ukrainian forces have used long-range missiles supplied by the United States to strike deep inside Russian territory. This escalation has drawn a furious response from Moscow, raising fears of a wider conflict. The world watches anxiously as tensions between Russia and the West reach new heights. On the 1000th day of the war, a significant and daring operation unfolded that would mark a pivotal moment in the ongoing conflict between Ukraine and Russia. Ukrainian forces, demonstrating both resilience and strategic acumen, launched a bold attack that reverberated across the region and beyond. Utilizing the advanced US-supplied ATACMS missiles, known for their precision and long-range capabilities, they targeted a critical military facility near the city of Karachev. This facility, strategically located in Russia's Bryansk Province, lies over 80 miles from the Ukrainian border, underscoring the reach and effectiveness of Ukraine's military capabilities. Russia, in response, claimed that its sophisticated S-400 air defense systems, renowned for their advanced technology, successfully intercepted 5 of the 6 missiles fired in the attack. Despite these defenses, debris from one missile reportedly caused a significant fire at the targeted military facility, highlighting the destructive potential of the strike. This attack marks a significant escalation in the conflict, signaling a new phase of heightened military engagement and strategic maneuvers. It demonstrates Ukraine's growing ability to strike back at Russia's military infrastructure, even within its own borders, showcasing a shift in the dynamics of the war. The preparation for this operation involved extensive training and coordination among Ukrainian forces, reflecting their commitment to defending their nation and reclaiming their territories. The use of US-supplied ATACMS missiles also highlights the crucial role of international military aid in bolstering Ukraine's defense capabilities. This attack has not only military but also significant diplomatic implications, as it underscores the international community's support for Ukraine in its struggle against Russian aggression. In response, Russia has likely increased its security measures and military readiness, preparing for potential further escalations and retaliatory strikes. The ongoing conflict continues to have a profound impact on civilians, with many areas experiencing severe humanitarian crises as a result of the prolonged hostilities. Amidst the escalating violence, there are ongoing international efforts to negotiate peace and call for a ceasefire, though such efforts face significant challenges. The roots of this conflict are deeply embedded in historical tensions and previous conflicts, making the path to peace complex and fraught with difficulties. Experts suggest that this latest attack could be a turning point, potentially altering the strategic landscape and influencing future military and diplomatic strategies. The resilience and determination of the Ukrainian people continue to be a driving force in their fight for sovereignty and independence. The global reaction to this attack has been one of heightened attention and support for Ukraine, with many nations reaffirming their commitment to assist in its defense. As the conflict progresses, the future remains uncertain, with various potential scenarios and strategic forecasts being considered by military and political analysts. Despite the ongoing challenges, there remains a glimmer of hope for peace and rebuilding, as both nations and the international community strive for a resolution to this devastating conflict.
Russia has reacted with fury to the Ukrainian missile strikes. Top officials, including Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, have accused the West, particularly the United States, of direct involvement in the attacks. Lavrov pointed to the fact that the ATACMS missiles rely on American satellite guidance. This, he argues, proves the US is playing a key role in enabling Ukraine to strike Russian territory.
Moscow has responded to the Ukrainian attacks with ominous warnings. The atmosphere in the Russian capital is tense, with government officials and citizens alike feeling the weight of the escalating conflict. The Kremlin has issued statements that are both stern and foreboding, signaling a potential shift in their military strategy. Russian leaders have made it clear that they view the situation as extremely dangerous, and have not ruled out the possibility of a nuclear response. In high-level meetings, the gravity of the situation is palpable. Experts on nuclear threats are being consulted more frequently, and the discussions are becoming increasingly urgent. The potential for a nuclear escalation is no longer a distant possibility, but a looming threat that could change the course of history.
President Vladimir Putin has recently updated Russia's nuclear doctrine. In his speeches, he has emphasized the need for Russia to be prepared for any eventuality. This update is not just a bureaucratic change. It reflects a strategic shift in how Russia views its military capabilities and its willingness to use them. Putin's rhetoric has become more aggressive, and his stance more unyielding. This update lowers the threshold for a possible Russian nuclear response. The new doctrine outlines scenarios in which Russia might consider using nuclear weapons, including in response to conventional attacks that threaten the nation's security. Experts warn that this change increases the risk of miscalculation and unintended escalation, making the global security environment more precarious. Now, even conventional attacks on Russian territory could potentially trigger a nuclear retaliation. This means that any military action near or within Russian borders is fraught with the risk of a disproportionate response. The international community is watching closely, aware that the stakes have never been higher. The shadow of nuclear war looms large, casting a dark pall over global politics and security.
Despite the escalating tensions, there have been faint hints of a possible path towards dialogue. In the midst of the ongoing conflict and rising hostilities, the international community has been closely monitoring any signs that could lead to a de-escalation. The stakes are incredibly high and the world is watching with bated breath. The possibility of dialogue, even if faint, offers a glimmer of hope in an otherwise bleak situation. The potential for peace talks, however slim, is a beacon of light that many are clinging to in these dark times.
Dmitry Peskov, the Kremlin spokesperson, has suggested that Russia might be open to negotiations with the United States. This statement has sparked a flurry of reactions from political analysts and diplomats around the world. Peskov's words have been dissected and analyzed for any deeper meaning or hidden agendas. The mere suggestion of openness to dialogue is a significant development, given the current state of affairs. It indicates that there might be a willingness, however tentative, to explore diplomatic solutions to the ongoing crisis. However, he stressed that any talks would be contingent on several conditions being met. These conditions are not trivial and represent significant hurdles that would need to be overcome. Peskov's emphasis on these conditions underscores the complexity of the situation and the challenges that lie ahead. The conditions set forth by Russia are seen by many as a way to assert their position and ensure that any negotiations are conducted on their terms. This has led to a mixed response from the international community, with some viewing it as a positive step and others as a strategic move to gain leverage.
Peskov stated that Ukraine would first need to reverse its ban on negotiations with Russia. This is a significant demand, as Ukraine's current stance is a direct response to the ongoing conflict and the actions taken by Russia. The ban on negotiations is a reflection of the deep mistrust and the desire to stand firm against what is perceived as aggression. Reversing this ban would require a major shift in Ukraine's policy and a willingness to engage in dialogue despite the current tensions. It is a complex and sensitive issue that would require careful consideration and significant diplomatic efforts.
He also emphasized that any dialogue would require Ukraine to acknowledge new territorial realities. This is perhaps one of the most contentious points, as it involves the recognition of territories that Russia claims to have annexed. The issue of territorial integrity is a deeply emotional and politically charged topic for both sides. Acknowledging these new realities would mean accepting changes that have been brought about through conflict and force, which is a difficult pill to swallow for Ukraine and its allies. This condition is seen as a major stumbling block in the path towards meaningful dialogue. This refers to Russia's claim to have annexed several regions of Ukraine. The annexation of these regions has been widely condemned by the international community and is not recognized by many countries. The presence of Russian military forces in these areas further complicates the situation and adds to the tensions. The annexation has led to significant geopolitical ramifications and has been a major point of contention in the conflict. Any negotiations would need to address this issue head-on, and finding a resolution that is acceptable to all parties involved would be a monumental task. The path to dialogue is fraught with challenges, but the glimmer of hope remains, and the world watches closely, hoping for a breakthrough.
The recent escalation in the conflict has sent shockwaves through the international community. Many fear that the situation could spiral out of control, potentially leading to a direct military confrontation between Russia and NATO.
The use of US-supplied long-range missiles by Ukraine marks a significant turning point. It raises the stakes for all parties involved and underscores the urgent need to find a diplomatic solution.
World leaders have expressed deep concern over the escalating situation. the United Nations has called for an immediate ceasefire and a return to dialogue. Many countries have condemned Russia's military actions in Ukraine. However, there are also concerns about the potential consequences of supplying Ukraine with increasingly sophisticated weaponry. The situation remains extremely volatile. The risk of miscalculation and further escalation is very real. The lines of communication between Russia and the West remain fragile. The conflict has already had a devastating impact on Ukraine. Millions have been displaced from their homes and the country's infrastructure lies in ruins. In this time of heightened tension, it is more important than ever to seek a peaceful resolution. Dialogue, however difficult, remains the only way to prevent further suffering and avert a wider war. The international community must work together to urge both sides to come to the negotiating table. The future of Ukraine and indeed the world may depend on it.